Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
All right, Steve, we have Joe for you.
Awesome. Hey, it's great to talk to you again today, and thank you for proving me right, because last time we talked, I said you hadn't lost 2 fights in a row in 4 years, and you went out there and put a hole through Servan Kakai, so thank you.
No problem. I was just trying to take care of what I told you.
You did indeed, and how satisfying was that win?
It was very satisfying. I mean, we talked about this. I believe he's one of the tougher fighters I was ever going to get in the cage with. A lot on the line when both the fighters had a loss last time. His career was on the line, and so was mine. I believe he freaking came out with everything he had, and we got a great finish, so we're happy about that.
Yes, indeed, it was a great finish, and it set you up for a great rematch with Eduardo Dantas, so you got to be super pumped up getting that title shot again.
Yeah, I believe that belt's mine anyways, and I hate to see it on someone else. They put it on my waist 3 different times in that cage. We're about to get the 4th time here next Friday. Same place, same result. It's going to be pretty exciting. We're honored to get this opportunity that Bellator and Viacom gave us it, and now I just need to perform again.
Speaking of being a multiple-time champion and having beaten Dantas once before for that championship, does it feel not just like deja vu, but like I've already proved it at this point? I mean, what can you do that you haven't already done?
Yeah, I don't believe it's deja. It is kind of a little bit same place, same person, for the same title. But no, I mean, I believe we're different fighters. I believe we're different people. We've changed. And it's exciting for me because, I lost that belt and now he got it and I have to get it back from him. So it's going to be a satisfying win for me. Me and my family are focused on getting this win and being back on top. And I think, I get this opportunity next week and I'm pretty excited about it.
In your preparation for this rematch, did you see his fight with Marcos Galvão and take anything away from his performance?
Yes, I watched that fight. I know both those guys. I believe that MMA is a sport of matchups. I mean, it's not always the best fighter. It's just some people that are matched up wrong have a hard time fighting a certain guy. And I think me and Marcus have that kind of that little spark, and I think me and Dantas do. I mean, I'm the worst person for Dantas ever to get into a cage with. You can't. What I took from that last fight was he changed to a point fighter. He's trying to win fights with jabs and kicks. I'm not that person that you can beat with point fighting. A jab or a kick's not going to stop me. You're going to have to come out there with everything you have and try to finish me. That's what my focus is. I believe, my technique's at a point where I can finish a person. And if that fight becomes who's tougher, I'm getting that win. And that's how I think it's going to be. And so I'm ready for a 5-round war, but I'm going to be pushing hard to try to finish from that first bell.
I know you're not the guy that's gone out there to win just on points. You're always trying to get the big win and get it finished and get it done. But even just winning on points, I would say that Dantas was also winning just by the look of Galvão after 4 rounds. I didn't think they needed a 5th to settle that. No,
me either. I mean, Dantas has been beating up Galvão for 20 years, so there was nothing different. I mean, these guys are like little boyfriends, okay? Galvão taught him how to do jiu-jitsu, was his coach when he was little, so they've got that personal connection. When you're training with a guy every single day, you can pick him apart, man. You just know who he is. That's kind of that matchup thing that I talked about. It's a bad matchup for him. I believe it's a bad matchup for me with Dantas. I believe he's going to have a rough time. I'd like to push the pace and keep the tempo really high. I'm not afraid to get hurt or get into some of those down dirty positions. And I don't think he's very comfortable in there. So that's where I'm going to try to bring him, into the deep waters and into the grind.
Well, even though you've got the matchup with him stylistically, have you gained more respect for him just by having these continual wars with him?
Well, I mean, I respect every one of these guys I'm going in there to fight. I'm outspoken and I might talk a little bit, but doesn't mean I take any respect from them. I believe that they're doing the same thing I'm doing. He's a world champ, 2-time world champ. I'm a 3-time world champ. 4-time with wrestling. I don't take anything from him. I respect his training and his coaches and who he is, but I just don't respect him in that cage. You know, I think that we just had some words in the past. He's making it really personal, and I plan on making his ass bleed in that Bellator cage next week.
Speaking of making it personal, I've talked to a couple of your former opponents recently. One of them is on the same card as you coming up here in Thackerville. LC Davis says you're a dirty fighter and you like to poke people in the eye.
Yeah, you know, people like to talk a lot of shit about me, man. And dirty fighter, I don't give a shit. You know, a fight's a fight, man. I'm not doing anything illegal. If so, Big John's in that cage and he's going to stop it. You guys watch the fights. It just sucks to get manhandled by a man, okay? And LC Davis, I don't think I got hit one time in that fight. I took him to his back and controlled the fight that I needed to make sure that I won to get a title shot. And we did that. We weren't going to take any damage, and our focus was to beat him in wrestling, and that's what we did. You know, respect-wise, man, I give these guys as much respect as they deserve. But when we get in that cage, I take all that away. You're just a body in front of me to punish. You know, and I never talk about guys after we're done. You know, I mean, that, you know, things happen. You know, we're fighters. You know, I mean, if I grab your glove too fucking bad, you know, do something about it. You know, I'm not poking you in the eyes. I'm not kicking you in the nuts. If so, I'm getting called to that. You know that. So, you know, LC Davis might still be butthurt by getting pummeled by me. I think is what that's going to happen right there. That's why you heard that from him.
To be fair, he says he had a torn ACL going in.
Well, that's great. I mean, well, then he should have. I mean, I have never heard that, and I don't really care. You know what I mean? If he wants to get back in that cage, I can finish him this time. If you tell him that. You know, last time we beat him as smart as possible. I was assuming I was getting that title fight right after that, and I thought it might be really quick. So my coaches wanted me to stay as safe as possible. So we beat him in wrestling. But I could easily knock his ass out with my hands too if I needed to.
Well, let's say that match with Marcos Galvão is a number one contenders match, and the winner goes on to face you. Who of the two of them would you rather it be than, Davis or Galvão? Well,
I don't believe that's going to be the title shot personally, but it doesn't matter, man. I'd like to beat both of them again. I think Davis is an easier fight. Me and Galvão have a matchup issue. You know, we have battles, me and him. So me and Galvão, you know, that'll be probably the fight that the fans would rather see. But me and LC Davis would probably be an easier fight for me.
All right. Well, then, in your opinion, who is next after you win this title back?
You know, first things, I got to get this title, but I believe that the fans will want to see me and Caldwell go again. You know, I mean, I don't talk about injuries like LC, I guess, does. Bottom line is, you know, that first takedown of that fight, I tore my MCL and dislocated my kneecap. You know, that's why I couldn't stand up. I fought back to my feet. You know, when things go bad in that cage, they go real bad. And next thing I know, I'm sleeping on the mat. So, you know, I take nothing from Darian. I mean, he's a great fighter, and I was excited for him to get an opportunity to get a belt shot. But you see what happens. The very unpredictable thing we do, the most unpredictable thing in the world, he got back in the cage and got choked out. So I think fans will probably want to see us go after it again, or me and Galvão. But I don't really give a shit, really, man. Once I have that belt again, I'll fight anyone. Bellator knows that. I've never had an easy fight, and I don't plan on having one.
Looks to me like they gave Caldwell the rematch with Ty Manglo to put him back in that position. But if Ty Manglo beats him twice, would you say that makes him the next contender?
Yeah, I think so, because he was supposed to be able to get this shot. He just didn't make weight. So I guess, you know, I would assume. I don't even know, actually. You know, MMA assumptions are just, you know, terrible things to do. So you never know what's going to happen. I know that Bellator is about giving the fans what they want. That's why we are fighting me and Dantas right now. I think that's what the fans want to see. And after that fight, we'll see. You know, you're hearing people like LC and other people probably, you know, start talking a little shit when they're not used to doing it, just to try to possibly get that opportunity. That's not in my mind right now. I'm focused on one thing next week and getting that title. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm sure that Bellator's got some plan in the hat already.
They've got a lot of plans in their hat right now. I wanted to
Yep.
ask you about that because they've made a couple of big signings since the last time you and I talked. Fedor Emelianenko, Chael Sonnen.
Yep.
Seems like they're really stirring things up, just like you like to do.
Yeah, they're stirring the pot up. I told you this before that Viacom gave Scott Coker the opportunity to do what he had to do to move that needle, and he's doing that. I mean, people might not like what we're doing, but the fans do. The numbers are very high. The viewers are extremely, the biggest viewers ever in history of MMA fights are in Bellator now. And now you're bringing, Fedor. I mean, come on. You got some studs coming over. You got Chael and Tito. You're going to have Chael and Vandalay, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun fights for the fans to see in the next year. And I'm just honored that I'm still part of this organization and still winning.
Let's say we put you and Chael head to head, not in terms of a cage match, but in terms of who talks better trash and making people mad.
Chael is a good friend of mine, man, and he is the best in the world at, performance. He's got everything mapped out. He knows what he's going to say. He knows this and this. That's not me. It comes straight from my heart. I speak the truth. If I don't like you, I'm going to tell you. I'm not trying to get under your skin. I'm just speaking the truth. 9 out of 10 times when I'm telling somebody something, it's because it's what it is, the truth. And people don't like to hear it, so that's the bottom line. I think Chael is the best at stirring the pot. I think he will get people upset. But you can see that he's doing that. You can tell that he's got a plan of what he's going to say and how he's going to do it. Everything comes out, off the cuff for me. It comes from my heart. So sometimes, it's not a good thing that I'm saying that. Sometimes, Bellator has been there and seen the best and the worst of me, and it's always live on television. And so that's not always good. I believe I'm the better champion. I'm the one that continues to keep winning. This will be my 4th world title for Bellator, and I'm still on top. I don't know if those other guys are fighting for belts. They're just fighting for viewership. So maybe someday I'll be at that point, but right now we're still on top of this division, and one the best fighter in the world. So we're different people, but we come from the same background, come from the same Olympic training center, from the same Greco-Roman team, and I'm honored to have them part of our organization.
This wrestling initiative they have right now with signing guys like Gerard Trice and Tyrell Fortune, you're seeing this whole new crop of wrestlers come in there, and you've been in Bellator since the early days. How satisfying is it to see so many promising wrestlers, Olympic-level wrestlers, coming in?
Yeah, I'm honored. They're not stupid, Bellator. They're a smart organization. They understand if you're going to grab a guy with no fights, you grab a guy that understands how to win on a wrestling mat. Because mentally he's as strong as it gets. Wrestlers are the strongest mental athletes there are, period. I believe that these young guys that are coming out, they're going to really surprise everyone. Aaron Pico, these guys, they're going to be world champions. They're going to be the best in the business, and Bellator's smart enough to go and sign them. I think that I would like to be more involved with these athletes for Bellator. They know me. I've been one of their, one of the heroes in their wrestling careers and then in their fighting. So, I'm honored that Bellator's picking those guys, and I think that the public will be also. You're seeing these guys pro debuts winning fights live in front of a bunch of people, and they have no problem with it. And you understand, a pro debut, you still don't know what you're doing. So, you're seeing them win big fights, and I think you're gonna see belts on all these guys in the future.
I think so. Before I let you go, I always give you this time to plug and promote whatever you want.
Yeah, just, thank Viacom and Bellator for giving me this opportunity again. Thank my coach, Mark Montoya, Factory X, Bob Forrester in Phase 4. I'll be rocking clinch gear again, for this title. And, I just, my fans, man, I got the salt of the earth fans. They've been watching me fight on Bellator since the first season of Bellator. And, just honored to still be, winning in that Bellator cage. Make sure everybody tunes in next week, December 2nd, live on Spike, and watch Baddest Man win his 4th belt.
From the 2010s right up to the present day, Joe Warren is face of Bellator MMA, and you don't want to miss December 2nd, Thackerville, Oklahoma, WinStar World Casino. Be there in person if you can, but if not, watch it live on Spike. Joe, thank you so much, as always.
No, thank you for having me, and we'll talk again after we get this belt.
Sounds like a plan.